And I quote, "I'll be there in a minute. Give me a second."
Time is relative, folks. Time is relative.
Yes. So hey, cheers to everybody in the chat. They're a division rival. I don't care how many wins they get. Screw them.
That wasn't the take I was expecting to hear.
I want to gush over watching live Chris Tanev.
I think that we completely underestimate the skill it takes to play defense.
One highlight or several highlights does not a Calder trophy make.
I'm stepping in here. I'm going to be the crotchety old man here. They need to learn patience. They need to understand the tension, and everything, and the drama.
How dare! Look at this. How is McDavid not getting a penalty?
You guys need to calm down with this, okay? You guys need to calm down.
Never, ever calm when you're talking Canucks hockey. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks podcast. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks, and you can also subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Hockey Podcast Network, where we have a read. When player props and live betting and every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, baseball season here just starting, so you can bet on that. Anyway, joined by Sean. Hello, Sean. How are you?
I'm good, Kev. Yeah, it is the first day of. Well, this week is spring break here in Alberta, and we got snow.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
It's that time of year where winter. It's like winter. You're having an argument with winter, and as soon as winter goes away, it comes back and says, "And another thing."
Yeah. I have a point. The other voice is Tyler. Hello, Tyler. How are you?
Hey, good. Missed you guys. Yeah, we're dealing with the same thing here. Winter just won't go away, and people have really had it, I think, too. So the forecast is looking a little encouraging for the weekend, but I'm not sure about next week yet. It's funny how there's some similarities here between our area and Calgary, because most of the time there's not. There are right now. I was in Vancouver briefly for a couple of days at the end of last week, so that was a bit of a shock to the system. But once again, back in Terrace, fighting the end of winter here. And my hockey season's over. I missed you last week because I was wrapping up another provincial championship. That was the U15 Tier 3s that were held here in Terrace. Congratulations to the Powell River Kings for winning that 9-team tournament. They beat New Westminster Royals in the final. We had a great time. Next generation of refs to some of them getting their first taste of championship hockey out there. So that was great to see. And the level of play I was very impressed with too. So congratulations to everybody involved.
Yeah. For sure. Good. I'll have a story. Maybe we'll just to wrap up, but we'll tease that a little bit later in terms of some news out of the BC EHL. That's a tease, but it was a kind of a shocking weekend and a bit of a sad day today. Wanted to start just a horrible news out of Minnesota on Sunday morning. I saw a tweet from Sarah Sivian, and I literally was just stunned to hear this, because I swear I saw a tweet from her in the morning. Jesse Pierce, who covered the Minnesota Wild, part of the Bar Down Beauties podcast. Her and her 3 children unfortunately passed away in a fire on Saturday night. Just horrible news. Jesse just did a phenomenal job covering the Wild. Brought just a passion and a personality. Just hearing some of the stories about her, she would literally be covering the game with a baby on her belly. She was always mentoring young women into the game. This is just a horrible loss for the community. the hockey content community. There's a podcast with I just can't draw the name, Kevin, Christian Kroll, and Kevin. I'll get the name. Yes, there's a few podcasts out there. There was a really nice tribute from Michael Russo on Twitter about her, on X about her. It's that was a really just horrible story. And I know there is a GoFundMe for her husband Michael now as well that you can check out. So I wanted to give the condolences to the family, and then some other unfortunate news today. I'm a barrel of good news to start. Jacob Winterton passed away. And if you know the name, he played in the OHL with Kingston, and his brother is with the Seattle Kraken. Ryan Winterton passed away of cancer at the age of 25. That sucks. Just to lose someone that young, but he fought a brave fight. And for those in Kamloops, part of the radio community, unfortunately, Rick the Bear Weil passed away last night. For those in Kamloops, he was inducted into the Kamloops Sports Hall of Fame back in 2017. I did a stint at Radio NL that was back between 2000, just a little bit after that. So I never had a chance to meet him, unfortunately. But some tough news to start. Condolences to all the families and people involved. But just a tough way just a brutal way to start the week.
Yeah.
Anyway, we take the tough turn and we will get into the Canucks, who the news is more off the ice. We'll get into that. But the 3 straight losses this week since last we chatted, Sean. A 6-2 loss to the MVP of the National Hockey League, Nikita Kucherov and the Tampa Bay Lightning. A 3-1 loss to St. Louis, and a 5-3 loss to the, I can't believe I'm saying this, Dylan, the first place in the Pacific Anaheim Ducks. Any takeaways of this week?
I mean, and Tyler was at the game with Tampa, and then the other two, why does this Death March feel a little less different, a little more different than last year? I don't know. Maybe it's because they're so bad that it's just like, okay, it is what it is. I think it might be the fact that they've actually embraced the rebuild, so it doesn't.
Sorry, that's a tease.
Yeah.
But I think it's tough. Like, I'm brutally honest. I'm picking and choosing what games I'm watching now. I'm not, if I'm, especially being 40 now. My sleep is very important to me, and so I don't want to be up too late, and that would be right now. That's when the Canucks have 8 o'clock starts. The 11 o'clock finish for these games for me is a little tough. So, I think it's just you're just hoping to see some development from the kids, and you're hoping to see some development from players like Petey, whether or not he's going to be part of the long term or not. And you got Petey had a good game last night versus Anaheim, so that's good. And then I'm looking at the ice time. Z Buium is only behind Philip Roenick in ice time, and ahead of Marcus Pettersson. So that I think, if we're looking at things to be excited about, you got Petey looks like he's starting to figure things out. This feels different to me for him than the last few times we talked about this. Oh, maybe he's back. I don't say he's not back, but it feels like he's finding ways to contribute, even if he's not still playing at the 100% that Petey that we know he can play at. And then they say you've got Z Buium, who one of the topics in the market was his potential extension. He's eligible to sign an extension that will start the year after. but he's eligible after July 1 to start negotiating that. So you want to see him start to develop because he's such a key piece to that Quinn Hughes deal.
Sean mentioned, yes, I was in the building for the game against Tampa, and it was very interesting. I use the term pulse check because I only go to 1 or 2 games a year. This case 2, and but the first time I've done so in, well, I guess since the late '90s, being in like this kind of context. So to be there watching a last place team, I mean, I would say the building was probably about 70 to 75% full. The Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon coincided with the game. If fans feel like the players are going through the motions just to get through the end of the season, it certainly felt like the fans are going through the motions too. Like they're just there. Something to do still. Maybe people had the tickets already. And we're not very far into the rebuild yet, where the fatigue of going and seeing loss after loss. I don't think we've reached that point yet with the fan base. There was no hostility towards the team, no booing, and just, there were some groans obviously when the puck went in. I think there was 3 that deflected in off of guys in front of the net. Not a real surprise that Kucherov and Cirelli had 3 points each. They're playing Tampa Bay. I don't think people came away from the experience feeling that surprised with the result. They're just, the ticket prices are lower, certainly for a single game right now, and some people are getting out to games that normally don't or maybe never have before, and they're just kind of soaking up the experience. But it is far from being in a playoff chase where everybody's on the edge of their seat with every movement of the puck. It was kind of zombie-like in there.
Yeah, it's the game against Anaheim was a fun one to watch. The game against St. Louis was not a fun one to watch. That was a rare 4:00 game, and nobody really had any legs. The St. Louis really didn't have any legs either. And the Tampa game was fun to watch on TV just to watch Tampa, but it wasn't necessarily fun to watch the Canucks.
I should say Kevin Lankinen did rob Brandon Hagel on what looked like a sure goal, and that got the crowd into it. But that was really like the one moment. I mean, there were a couple of goals scored, but they were still chasing the game at that point.
Yeah. On the topic of BM, Tyson Cole mentioned on social media, he talked about ZBM being a future captain with the team. Maybe next week we'll spend a little bit more time on Zeev. There was a couple of other things we wanted to talk about this week, but again, I'll say this again. I've said this on Calgary with the Flames podcast. ZBM is going to be, and I know Carter Yakimchuk, congratulations, first ever NHL goal. ZBM is going to be the best defenseman in that draft class of 2023. Is it 2023? Yes, that he will be. And I do think that the Quinn Hughes trade will turn out not as a win. Like, it's going to be hard to say that they will win the trade, but I think that it's a plant to going forward here. And this is the story of the week, or kind of the discussion of the week, is the Vancouver Canucks sent out their an email to season ticket renewals, and just 1 second here.
After special delivery. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Inquiring minds want to know what that's.
That's okay. Anyway.
Oh my God.
All right.
Focus.
Okay. So I'll read this.
It's a letter to people that might be renewing their season tickets.
Yes.
Okay.
Every period, every shift, your passion, energy, and belief are what make Rogers Arena home. Each year, we work to elevate our membership program, offering you more access and an improved in-arena experience. This past year, we made our ticket exchange program more flexible, giving you better control, and allowing you the opportunity to craft your season. We leveled up our existing programming and launched a new series of member exclusive events to bring you closer to the Canucks community. Next season, we're adding an additional regular season game to your renewal and introducing new benefits to celebrate our most dedicated members. Now, we're building the next generation with 10 picks in the 2026 draft, 2 of which are in the first round. Pair that with a young core ready to break through, and the next era Canucks hockey is here. Our members will be front and center as you are the most important part of the rebuild. Go Canucks, go. We're excited to welcome you back to the 26-27 season. Your account is set to auto-renew, and if you'd like to make any changes, please contact your membership experience representative by April the 6th, 2026. Now, what is not in this note is the fact that I think we're going to use the word some, tickets have gone up, because some tickets have gone down. Now, there's a Reddit thread that kind of is discussing some of this, but this has drawn, is it fair to say it drew the ire of some people in Vancouver? Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes.
I mean, anytime you're discussing costs of things, and even if they don't go up or they're going up, they're staying the same, and it's expensive, if you're going to draw an ire of a certain crowd.
Fair enough. I forgot a pit. We'll get to that later. I guess let's start with Sean. What do you think of this letter?
Yeah. it's nothing. Like, it's a nothing thing. Like, it's literally just it's very much corporate speak more than anything else, I think, honestly. We don't know what a lot of these exclusive member events are. We don't none of us are season ticket holders. We don't see the details of that. So, and when you're going to the rebuild, like I get the want in a rebuild, the team isn't going to do great because the kids are going to be learning, but I don't know. I feel like it should have been a nothing thing, but in today's day and age where people's expendable income is becoming less and less, they're questioning where they're spending their money, which is fair. And then you throw into the fact that you've got people throwing logs onto the fire on social media about it, and it gets a life of its own. I don't see what was said there was good, bad, or anything other than just there.
Yeah, and Kevin, that's how I feel about it too. I mean, I would say that that's written by somebody in the sales marketing department and not somebody that's reporting directly to Jim Rutherford. I suppose there would be disappointment if you were a season ticket holder forking out big money that there would be any kind of an increase given how the season has gone. But it's not really anybody's God-given right to have the season tickets. I mean, it's okay. The loyalty should be rewarded in some fashion. I get that in terms of like the pure ethics of keeping the fan loyalty strong. But player salaries are going to inflate with the rise in the salary cap. The cost of doing business inflates. Every line of work has inflation. So really, it becomes a supply and demand economics thing rather than how the team performed this year. If the owner thinks there's a market for other people to buy season tickets, or they'll sell just more single game tickets or smaller packages to account for the people that decide not to renew, that's just doing business. That's just the reality. If fans are upset with it, they can vote with their wallets and just say, I'm not going to renew. I'll come back when the team's better. And I'm sure a lot of people are having that thought right now. They've got till April 6th or whatever the deadline was in the letter there to cancel their auto renewal. I think for a lot of people, especially if they are wealthy, the status symbol that comes with holding season tickets still means a lot to them. And if the team's in a downward period and they're feeling optimistic about the team actually committing to a rebuild here, they probably won't lose them. I've heard some sentiment that there's no like apology for the team's performance in there. Well, there's one, the season's not over yet. Two, they don't know what the draft lottery result's going to be like. We don't know what the draft, there's a lot of unknowns here still about next year. I suppose maybe in the offseason we might see some kind of message like that. But when you're trying to sell something like that, there's going to be a positive spin on it. I mean, to expect that there would be some sort of like dwelling on the negatives in this letter, I think is just unrealistic for people.
There's a scene from The Equalizer that I've been thinking about that has related to the conversation around the Canucks. I'll just kind of draw this for everyone here. This is The Equalizer with Denzel Washington. It's a number of years ago. It's the first Equalizer. So they send the first batch of bad guys after the Denzel Washington. He kicks the crap out of them. So they're planning to send the second one. But he catches one of them in the restaurant, knocks him out, comes back, drops his sunglasses into bad guy's wine glass. And he basically says, I can keep going, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. And then he ends it by saying, when you pray for rain, you have to expect the mud too. And I feel like that quote from The Equalizer is sort of what I'm feeling with some of the people when we're talking about where the Canucks are at with the rebuild. They wanted the rebuild. They expected the rebuild. They have certain expectations around it. But when things go awry, as an example, being eliminated from the playoffs for this year, officially after the St. Louis game, forgot to mention that, and the Abbotsford Canucks as well. They're stunned. They're stunned when there are games when the Canucks don't put in an effort, like Saturday night when they play the St. Louis Blues. They're stunned when there's like 9 home wins. And I think we've talked about this enough. I don't quite know. You want this rebuild. You want this team to bottom out. They're doing it, and you're still not happy about it.
Yeah,
and it's like shocking the things that are going on.
I mean, having been at the game on Thursday and seeing like the 6 goals against, I mean, you could put the circus tunes on, dude. I mean, it was a little bit like that. And I suppose if you're going and seeing that all the time, that starts to add up for people. But this is part of rebuilding. I mean, it's going to look like that. And, you just hope it doesn't go on for very long. You hope that the offseason they make smart moves, they draft well, they don't set themselves back with a really overpriced free agent signing for somebody that's heading for a decline. You hope for those things, and the management hasn't certainly given the fans a lot of optimism on those kinds of things because they've made lots of mistakes under this ownership and several different management regimes. But the discourse going back to last year has been they've got to rebuild. Whether you agree with the finer points of the rebuild, they are certainly doing it, considering how many people have been moved, and here we are. The losses are piling up. I guess in a way, fans just want everything. That's pretty. I mean, that's fandom. That's gonna.
What they want is trade all the vets away for king's ransoms, and then they want the kids to play and to suck, but put an effort in, and that's just not the way it works.
No.
You're gonna have good games like where you lose entertaining games like versus Anaheim. You're gonna find ways to win games like they did last week, and then you're gonna have stinkers like they did against St. Louis and Tampa. So that's just the way it is.
And people might want to make noise about leadership. Well, I mean, they traded Quinn Hughes, who was the captain. Now most of the other veterans are gone. I mean, heaven forbid the guys that are actually in the locker room now are looking around at each other for some kind of definition to what their team is and who the leaders are and what type of team they're going to be. I mean, this is part of the whole transition. I mean, they're a little bit lost, and their play on the ice shows that. But management's made the decision to flush on this season. They're just trying to get through it without any kind of severe injury.
The question then becomes, though, and we've heard from Jim Rutherford, we've heard from Patrick Allvin, we've heard a little bit from Adam Foote. And I guess the question is, are the Canucks clearly communicating their message to the fans?
How much detail do the fans need, I guess, is the question.
Like, actions speak louder than words at this point too. Since the Quinn Hughes trade, since they made the decision to trade Quinn Hughes, they traded Quinn Hughes, they traded Kiefer Sherwood, they've traded Connor Garland, they've traded Tyler Myers. Like, they've talked about how they need to get younger, and Rutherford's gone on multiple shows and said that they're rebuilding. Allvin has said they're rebuilding. Like, I don't know how much clearer they need to be, honestly. Like, I know the talk this week was that the ownership needs to come out and say that. I'm like,
well,
why?
That's not happening.
Yeah, why?
That absolutely. Why? I will unequivocally tell you that it would be an unmitigated disaster to have Francisco Aquilini anywhere near a microphone.
100% agree. Yeah.
That should absolutely not happen. And I will point to you where Sean lives. What happened when Don Maloney went in front of a microphone?
Oh yeah.
That is just not. Nope.
And this is not just a Vancouver thing too. I mean, rest in peace, Eugene Melnyk. Okay, and he was a guy that somebody in the organization needed to tell him no. But Francesco's not dying to go in front of the press. Eugene was, but every time he opened his mouth in front of the press in Ottawa, that was a disaster too. There's not really much to be gained with the. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's another one. There are some owners. Jeff Molson's an example that are very eloquent and composed in front of the cameras, but still, every time you go out there, you are now diminishing the people that you hired that are hockey experts to do the job. Just that by itself, you're undermining the people that you've hired when you go out there and talk to the press. We've already seen Jim Rutherford doing this with Patrick Allvin more than enough.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
The whole thing is it's moving goalposts as to what the media wants, because this is a media-driven thing from people, from media members like Thomas Drance and others who will go off, who when they brought in Rutherford and then brought in Allvin, and Rutherford was quiet, they were demanding Rutherford speak, and then when he did, they would crucify them on details of what Allvin said versus what Rutherford said. And now that both Allvin and Rutherford are on the same page, they're demanding that the ownership speaks just so they can do it again.
Yeah.
The only people that benefit from Patrick Allvin coming out, or Francesco Aquilini coming out and speaking about this is the media, because it's content gold is what it is.
Oh yeah, they'd be.
It will not calm down. It will not calm the waters with the fan base. Francesco Aquilini is a contentious owner with many of them, anyways. So I don't know if they even want to listen to him.
Yeah,
and it's just when the GM saying they're in a rebuild, the president of hockey ops is saying they're in a rebuild. The coaches made comments about it.
Yeah.
What, like, the closest thing we will see to Francesco Aquilini saying anything is there will be a statement in that, like a year-end statement, that Rutherford, Aquilini, Allvin will pen.
Yes.
And that's it. And that's all that should be. Anything more than that is just going to be, as Kevin said earlier about the Don Maloney thing, an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, and if fans are expecting the somebody in the organization to come out today, or let's say tomorrow, March 26th, and outline who is going to be moved in the offseason, I mean, that's not how you don't general manage in the public with your roster. I mean, I know that that would be nice information to have, but it's just not going to happen. And their whole strategy will depend on whether they win that damn draft lottery or not.
Exactly.
It bugs me that I'm already dipping into the whole discussion about the draft lottery, and I don't know who's playing with the simulator, but just leave it alone.
I haven't touched it yet.
Okay.
I haven't touched it yet.
Okay,
I was literally just about to, just as a joke there, Tyler. But no,
Okay.
I've actually, I said this thing
That's
a few
a big
weeks
part
back.
of
I've
it.
actually muted some people and unfollowed some people on social media because that's all they do all day is just do that. I'm just like, what is the point of this?
Just close the laptop, just put it away, okay? But once that's known, then there'll be a lot more clarity onto what happens the rest of the offseason and moving into next season.
Yeah, and a couple of other things I think I want to point we need to discuss from this too. Yeah, I mean, first of all, Aquilini, specifically Jim Rutherford, has been communicated. And yeah, anyway, the price of season tickets conversation is quite fascinating because I'm looking at a graph here, and I could be wrong, but it looks like Vancouver going into this season was under the average, which was 761.22. They were 744.53, kind of around the Detroit, Colorado, Winnipeg, but more than Winnipeg, less than Colorado. The thing that I want to bring up here that nobody is really talking about, and look, one of the things that is look, Francisco Aquilini, as Sean said, is a very polarizing person. But one of the things that is not being talked about here is, as Tyler mentioned, you've got the price of inflation coming and like just the average cost of living. And folks, I'm not breaking any news here. Vancouver is expensive to live in. Not breaking news. But you have to pay a reasonably good wage for not only your hockey players, your staff, your communications. You've got concession that needs to be paid for. You've got ushers that need to be paid for. You've got janitors that need to be paid for. And it seems to me that a lot of people forgot that those people need to make some money. And
yeah, and again, I mean, it comes back to that people feel like the owner should just absorb that increase on the balance sheet and do the fans some kind of a charitable cause here because of a bad season on the ice. Well, that's only necessary if people are not going to buy the tickets, and we know that the market is still there's still people right now willing to buy the tickets. Now, if this continues to 2 or 3 years from now, I don't know if I would say that very confidently. I think you're going to be looking at a lot of vacant seats in the building if there isn't some kind of a quicker turnaround. But right now, people have realized, okay, this season's lost. There is that draft lottery. Perhaps some of the people at the game on Thursday I was with may have played with the simulator already. Okay, but if we're having this discussion a year from now and haven't made any progress, then it could be another story. But right now, from what we can see, I could see all the seats in the arena for one game at least. It doesn't look like the market has softened that much yet.
This fan base is a pretty loyal fan base, and I think that they will, in general, stick through thick and thin, and especially with it being a province-wide hockey team, people like you, Tyler, will come down for those games. People will come from out of town to come to a Canucks game. That will always
the ticket price has lowered, if it has fallen enough for the single game tickets, which it has clearly this year. I mean, it was me, my partner, and a couple of kids going. So as a family of four, and we went and we sat in the fourth row of the 300 level in the corner section, 328, and we did that for what would have been the cost of 1.5 tickets in the lower bowl a few years ago. So, if there might be new people that they can bring in now that maybe couldn't afford it before when the team was more popular.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question, like, there's no dispute that hockey tickets for the NHL are expensive. Like, totally get it. I'm not saying that I understand where people are coming from, but I think that there's also just another reality in this situation about the cost for everybody that works at Rogers Arena. And I think that has been forgotten in this conversation. And I think I want to bring them into the conversation because they are relevant in this. And, I just wanted to point that out. What was the other thing that I was going to say here? I just like this to me. John Shannon said it well. This to me, I don't think it needed to be anything else.
That's what John was saying.
Yeah, it just
it's
didn't
just
need
there.
to be anything. Yeah,
just like, hey, your renewal's coming up.
Yeah,
there's a little blurb about where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, other places, there's a conversation in Edmonton going on right now about the cost of potential playoff tickets that are going to be madly expensive. It's expensive everywhere. Like,
are there any empty seats for playoff games at Rogers Place?
Nope.
So there you go.
Yeah, and there won't be, even if Grant Frederick is not going. Someone else will.
Yeah.
So, I think the expectations around what this letter was supposed to be were a little bit misguided. As it was mentioned, just was corporate speak that you're sending to the members. And I think that this was made a little bit much ado about nothing in a lot of ways. So, and
look, to be fair, if we get to post-draft or around the draft and you've got a letter from Jim Rutherford or Francesco Aquilini and it's talking about the playoffs next year, then I can understand people feeling like they're out of touch. I don't think we've reached that point yet.
But they haven't, like Tyler and Sean, the Vancouver management has used the word rebuild more than Calgary has used the word rebuild. I have only heard Craig Conroy use the word rebuild once, and that was after the trade of Naz and Kadri. He has not said it before. He has not said it since, but the Flame fans are like, we're in a rebuild. Praise Jesus.
Well, it doesn't seem to be as toxic with that fan base. It just doesn't. I don't know. Sean lives there. You'd know better than me. But I just, it doesn't. It just seems to be night and day in terms of the attitude towards all this stuff.
I think the media's got a more friendly relationship with the team. You don't have as much. There's not as much sort of toxicity within the media, as we've discussed in the past about and competition within the media to just be heard. So I think that helps. But yeah, I think it's, for me, again, I think I said this earlier, but actions speak louder than words. Yeah. And when you look at the actions that the Canucks have taken this year after they made the decision to trade Quinn Hughes, this is a rebuild. And if you're trying to tell me it's not because you haven't heard the right specific words, even though the actions tell you otherwise, I think you're just searching for content more than anything else.
And I heard a conversation today about the idea of how bad things are, and they need to say how bad things are. I don't think they need to say how bad things are. I think the Canuck fan base is intelligent enough to know that what work needs to be done.
I guess if in this little letter that came out, just when you're reminding people that their renewal for season tickets are coming up, do you honestly think a marketing person is going to give the consumer a reason to say no in front of them in that letter?
No.
I don't know. yes, it would be honest and humane, I suppose, to acknowledge that it's been a very underwhelming product that you're watching this year. But the fans don't need to be told that; they already know.
Yeah, I would argue, and maybe we'll have this discussion another time, but I would argue if there was an apology that needed to happen, it was actually for more last season than this season.
Yes,
Because
totally, yeah.
Last season had the expectations of a battle with Edmonton for the Pacific Division, and things were on the upswing, and it turned out to be an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
You're coming away out of this you should come away with no lower than a third pick in the draft. You probably, yes, this season has absolutely sucked in terms of the results, but there is that silver lining. That's the way that I look at it. But
yeah.
A couple of some other Canuck news I wanted to touch on here. Three things. Victor Mancini signed a 2-year, $1 million AAV. He was part of the JT Miller trade, coming back from the Rangers. 5th round pick, good on him to get a contract. I guess it's going to help fix his teeth, which is great.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know where Victor Mancini will end up fitting within this Canuck lineup going forward. I like him. I think he's got a potential to be Tyler Myers light in some ways, but we'll see. We'll see. Good on him. Congratulations. A 5th round pick getting an extension. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And yeah, he is a sort of the mystery box of that trade. Yeah, he could have a little bit of that sort of big physical defenseman who can be a little bit rangy and move up the ice and provide some offense. But yeah, he's a right shot as well, so that's always a nice bonus for defensemen.
Yeah. And EP40 got his 500th point last night against the Anaheim Ducks. He is the 8th Canuck to do it. I think this went under some. Unfortunately, I think there's so many other clouds around EP40 that this probably is not going to get the celebration that it should. Congratulations to him. And a significant milestone. And I don't know what else to say to that, but
no, I mean, hopefully it's just a point in his career arc where he can maybe do a little reflecting on the fact that he is a good player and he just needs to get back to playing the way he used to be instead of dwelling on negatives or feeling avalanched by negative commentary around his play and his contract.
Yeah,
he still reached that milestone.
Yep.
First player in the 2017 draft to reach the 500 point milestone as well as the 200 goal milestone. Cale Makar is by far in the way the best player out of that draft. I'm sure you can make the argument that Miro Heiskanen is probably number 2. But after that, I think if Petey can, again, just if he can put the last year and a half behind him, and he could definitely be in the conversation for number 3 in that draft. So yeah, it's great to see him put up that good that big milestone. 500 points is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. Coming up here too, by the way, is Evander Kane is going to play his 1,000th game. I imagine that's coming fairly soon here. And I kind of half wonder if one of the reasons that Evander Kane wasn't traded, I partially wonder if he wanted to play his 1,000th game in a Canuck uniform. I'm putting that out there. I mean, he's from here. I think he's close to the end of his career. I don't know if he's going to have another contract after this. We talked about maybe last week, Tyler. We talked about Kane maybe getting a PTO, but
that doesn't seem out of left field in terms of making that prediction. Yeah.
And one more thing before we read the next one here. Tumbler Ridge is a semi-finalist with Tabor for Kraft Hockeyville. You may know Tumbler Ridge from February 9th of this year with a very tragic mass shooting. Kids and teachers passing away. That one of the things that unfortunately happens is lots of time is spent in the community when this tragedy happens, and then once it kind of dies down in the news cycle, it's kind of left behind. So I do hope they win at Kraft Hockeyville, but if they don't, I hope the Canucks do find a way to play a game there of some sort of kind, whether that's the Vancouver Canucks, whether that's the Abbotsford Canucks. I do think that sports has a way to heal people. Even I think the BC Lions, I wouldn't mind to see the BC Lions finding a way to do something over there to help that support that community.
It'd be nice. I don't know enough about the facilities or how possible that is, but certainly would be a great message send if they were able to pull off something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how that would be done, but I wouldn't like. Before I go on, before we do the rest of it, I forgot. I wanted to point this out back to the season ticket thing that I wanted to mention. There's a bunch of people clamoring for this practice facility. This practice facility is reportedly close. And if you're a season ticket holder, if you don't think that you're going to be bearing the brunt of some of this practice facility cost, I've got a bridge to sell you.
Oh yeah, it'll be part of the price increases over the next few years to cover whatever expenditure is necessary to get that going.
Yeah.
Yeah, there won't necessarily be any sort of like surcharge or anything overt about it, but it's going to be part of it. Yeah. That's any business that does something like this, they're going to have revenue go into improvement funds.
Yeah.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code XXX. That's code XXX to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Great gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPNY or text HOPNY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds require. For the additional terms of responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. One of the things that I think people would probably want to take some bets on is suspensions by the NHL and the wheel of justice.
That is a segue there, boy. That's pretty smooth. That's pretty smooth. Oh, suspensions, yes. What an ugly discussion this has been.
Yes. So we go back to the Radko Gudas hit on Austin Matthews, which I'll get Tyler's take on that, but it did hit more this week when AJ Greer was suspended for 3 games on a hit from behind to Connor Zary, which was extremely dangerous. No question about it. You absolutely have to have a suspension. And yeah. I don't know. We didn't see, did Pierre-Luc Dubois receive a suspension for last night of Robert Thomas? The reason I'm asking is he did get a match penalty, which is an automatic review.
I haven't seen anything yet.
So. No.
Okay. So, Tyler, I wanted to go back with you on Radko Gudas, Austin Matthews. The suspension was 5 games. Fair, more? What were your thoughts?
It had to be at least that much. And I know because the people want to talk about star players and protecting the stars, and that maybe it was underwhelming, that number. But, yeah, I think 5 is pretty consistent with that type of an infraction that we've seen in recent years. And you can use wheel of justice. I've commented feeling like the league safety department is politicized. Depends on kind of who has the ear of Gary Bettman at the time. But 5 is a number that's not really a surprise. to me, when you compare that to what happened with AJ Greer and Connor Zary, I mean, that's underwhelming. Like just the recklessness of what occurred there and the potential consequence, right? Like a lot of what frustrates people with player safety is that these suspensions are not sending a message to correct behavior. It is trying to achieve some form of fairness over suspensions based on the past and get people back out there without, being overly punitive. So, if this was purely about safety, there would be bigger suspensions, but it's not. It's about trying to say we've done something to ensure that there is safety out there, but they are still selling an entertainment product that involves physical play. And if you start going into double-digit suspensions all the time, at some point the trickle-down effect of that is going to be a less physical game. That's the struggle that the league has all the time.
It is a tough line to toe. I do think that there is a vocal group of people on social media that are wanting that go off anytime something like this happens, and they go over the top with their demands. But it is a very tough line to toe, because what makes the NHL so special to me is that great combination of speed, physicality, and, for lack of a better term, violence. And you want that nice combination. That just what makes it. It's what makes the NHL so good. And if you over punish these things, or maybe not over punish is the wrong term, but harshly punish them, then yes, that is the potential consequences is a less physical game. And maybe that is the way that it ends up going in a few years, or 10, 15, 20 years. But right now, I don't think that that's what the NHL wants. I don't think that's what the PA wants, honestly. And I don't think that's what the owners want. I think they like I think they like where the game is at currently. I think they feel that there's not as much goonish behavior. There's plays that are reckless. There's plays that just don't, that they do need to be suspended, but I don't think they want to do the 10, 15 games, especially with the CBA and all the appeal processes that the players have at their disposal.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it is a dilemma that the NHLPA. Well, it feels like this is the dilemma that the NHLPA is in. Is you have to defend Radko Gudas and Austin Matthews. You have to defend AJ Greer and Connor Zary, and you have to defend Pierre-Luc Dubois and Robert Thomas. You have to represent both of them as part of the NHLPA, and yeah, I don't like, if the NHLPA wanted to fix this in the way that everyone wanted to, they would have done that in that last CBA, and they didn't.
No.
And like, I just don't think. I think people are sort of expecting, with the AJ Greer thing, sort of this precedence. And I do think that that's a terrible hit, and I do think it should have. I think it should have been more than 5 games, but it just wasn't going to happen. I think, I guess I've lowered my expectations of the Wheel of Justice from George Peros, and I'm not I kind of thought this would be 3 games. Connor Zary got up under his own power, and I think that they do take that into consideration in a lot of ways. And I think, I don't want to both sides this, but I feel like this is becoming a little bit political. And I will point out, sorry, Devin, a lot of Leaf fans were chiming in on this AJ Greer suspension. I found that quite interesting. I saw a lot of Leaf media go, well, interesting, Florida getting suspension. Oh, George Parros was a former Florida Panther, and we're going to connect the dots.
It's all tinfoil hat nonsense, all of that.
Yeah,
Well,
like
it
I
doesn't
think we
matter
need
who
to.
the person is in that position. They answer to Gary Bettman. That's
Yes,
what it comes down
exactly.
to.
And
Yeah.
I don't like, I want to be clear, I don't like that. And I think that that's the other side of this being politicized. So, and I brought this up last week, Tyler. If Radko Gudas was wearing a Maple Leaf jersey and Austin Matthews was wearing a Duck jersey, the conversation around that injury would have been a hell of a lot different.
Yeah.
And everybody here knows it.
Sean?
Yeah, 100%. It's just, I think part of it, I think we need to, I've said this a few times, we've given the social media voices too much weight in terms of what is a real conversation and what is just people yelling into the void.
Yeah.
Well, the Gudas
And I think-
conversation was, I mean, everybody was talking about that. So, you know,
It was, but I think it's what they are, how they're having that conversation, right? Who was leading that Gudas, the Gudas conversation? It was Leafs fans. It was Leafs media. It was Leaf content creators trying to drive traffic, engagement, and everything. That's the thing with the social media stuff these days. It's less about having smart, nuanced conversations and more about just yelling for the sake of yelling to see who responds.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's when it comes to these contentious issues, all you hear is the extremes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, the Gudas one 5, 6, 7 games would have been fine for me. The Greer one, I would have put in that same boat because I think just when you look at it, it just felt the same to me. The Dubois one is, I think, surprised we haven't heard anything about that. And then Kevin, on our agenda, you put the Ryan Strome on Mikko Mikkola. That one was just more awkward than anything else. But when things go a little bit pear-shaped in the media and in social media conversations, you have to have these conversations about what is just a unfortunate collision. So you can nitpick here, there, and all that, but it's when you're looking at how the NHL, the owners, the NHL has the office and everything, Gary Bettman, Bill Daly, and all of them, as well as George Parros and the Department of Player Safety, the owners and the PA want the game to be played. This kind of lines up with it. They want it to. They don't want to take away any excuse to take away the physicality.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, we've gotten into a point where, again, we let the people who yell the loudest dictate how things should be discussed, how things are being discussed, and how things should be discussed.
Yeah.
And a lot of what happens when this happens in these situations is you see where a certain segment of people want the game to be. And I don't necessarily think that they're the majority a lot of the time. And I think they're just a vocal minority. And I think that at this point, I think that it's with the player safety and the discipline, I think it does need to be tweaked, but it's not going to be a massive overhaul like a lot of people want or are demanding.
Yeah. It won't happen until, and it's been mentioned here, that type of thing won't happen here until the NHLPA is willing to really take a firm stance and say, we got to do more for safety. And that's just, it hasn't been as big a priority for them as maybe it should be, but it's gonna take them willing to kind of, lose salary over to say, hey, this isn't a safe enough working environment, and we're going to withdraw our services to accomplish that. I mean, yeah, I mean, good luck with that one. I don't see that happening anytime.
Yeah, the Ryan Strome. The reason the other reason I just wanted to point that out though was that is, I mean, the people that are yelling. If you wanted to talk about knee-on-knee collisions and you wanted to take that out of the game, that was a knee-on-knee collision. So it just kind of illustrates the point. I kind of wanted to bring that up because it's illustrating the point that this isn't really about. I don't think that this is really, from the other side of this isn't about player safety. This is about fandom. Because I'll point the Leafs out again. There were some of the same Leaf media that was outraged about Radko Gudas and Austin Matthews applauded Morgan Riley for riding Ridley Gregg into the boards. And
oh, you're on that now. Yeah.
And also applauded Connor McDavid for mugging Connor Garland. I will remind people of that as well. It is like, sorry, I'm not buying that you're okay. I'm not buying it. I don't. Yeah. I'm not buying that this is about knee injury. This is fandom, and I think we need to. I agree with you, Sean. We need to separate the two of this and try to have some sort of nuanced conversation. Like, yes, the Gudas should be suspended, and Riley should have been suspended, and McDavid should have been suspended. All of those were dirty plays. I mean, even a couple of years ago with that whole Tyler Myers, Nikita Zadorov, Myers, McDavid's. Wait, who was all there? Myers, McDavid, Hyman. Was Zadorov involved in that?
Susie. Carson Susie.
Right, yeah, right. All of that conversation after Game 4, that was politicized for sure.
Yeah.
That's
how it goes.
Yeah. Anything else on the radar?
No, just I mean, by the playoffs are going to be here before we know it. I'm looking forward to that part. I know I'm looking past the end of the season for the Canucks, but yeah, I mean, and we saw it this week in the press. I mean, they're kind of just beating topics to death now, trying to just fill the content void. But yeah, once we get to the playoffs, there'll be a lot more to discuss.
Yeah, it's just one thing I just noticed. Did you guys know that the Columbus Blue Jackets are in 8th place overall in the National Hockey League?
No, I did not.
So it's absolutely, this year has been insane. We're about to see the Buffalo Sabres get to 100 points. The Detroit Red Wings have collapsed off the face of the earth. The Rangers were officially eliminated from the playoffs tonight with their loss to the Leafs. The Anaheim Ducks are probably going to win the Pacific Division. The Vegas Golden Knights could miss the playoffs. The Nashville Predators, announcing a rebuild, are in the playoffs. This league has been weird. This year has been completely weird.
I mean, I want to highlight Buffalo. I mean, that'll be great scene to see them back in the playoffs. It's playoff hockey in Buffalo's always been a turbulent experience. If you go back to the late 1990s.
Insane.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah. And their potential first round, they could have Boston in the first round too, which I think is Boston, Buffalo have had their history over the years as well.
There you go. Yeah.
Sean, did you have anything or?
No.
Okay. A couple things on my radar I wanted to just kind of quickly point out. The PWHL is possibly looking at expansion here. Looks like there may be 2 or 3 new teams coming in, reportedly 2 in America, 1 in Canada. I suspect the Canadian team might be Edmonton, but I could be wrong. So that's one thing. And I teased this BCEHL. The Greater Vancouver Canadians, who I used to do play-by-play for, their U18 team is going to be shut down basically for a year. So they're going to have their U15 and U17 teams, but not the U18 team. They're just going to take a step back and figure out that program. And so it's kind of unfortunate for the BC EHL that that's not when they're there. They play out here by me in the Richmond Olympic Oval, but
yeah, no, you never want to see any programs disappearing. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we will leave it there. Tyler, how do we follow you?
I'm on X at T-Noble, T-N-O-B-L-E.
Sean?
I am Bearded Canucks 03 on X.
Chris, who we're going to have to hit him to talk about the Memorial Cup when that comes into Kelowna. Schneids, S-C-H-N-E-I-D-Z. Devin, who apparently was livid about the Leafs. We'll have to get him back, Devin Holmes-Smith. Stay tuned as well. We'll be talking Flames on the weekend. You can check out the Fireside Chat podcast with Dan and Matt. I am KEVOLE on all social media. Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks. YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks. Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.